All right, hit it, bro.
Peace and blessings to my brothers and sisters. This is AC coming to you live from the belly of the beast. When I first heard the news of the invasion on Ukraine by the Russians, I found myself being sympathetic to their plight and felt a surge of unity due to an entire country being oppressed by a larger and more forceful country that felt they shouldn't be offered a seat at the table. My initial response was, this is a travesty. Yet as the layers of chaos began to unravel, I was able to learn that even in the midst of a public outcry, the same ugly news became prevalent of how people of color are being oppressed within this country's borders. Lives are in danger, bombs are exploding, and all seek refuge in neighboring countries or safe havens in other cities. The issue is that not only are they being awarded the opportunity to obtain this level of safety and security, and not only are they being allocated the option of being able to make it out of a war-torn country the same way most people would in this situation, people of color are not. Black students from Ghana, Nigeria, and other African countries are being deemed as less valued than their European counterparts. They are being held up at train stations and forced to offer them to procure safe passage for white refugees. The common practice for war-torn countries is allowing residents and citizens the opportunity to flee safely. Yet people of color's safety seems to have come at a price. This sounds real familiar when it comes to these colonial countries that subject non-European residents, slaves, and others that are not classified as European descent to have to procure some kind of right to freedom, whereas their counterparts are awarded it at birth. Charging people of color to get to safety seems to be a common practice. Here in the U.S., people of color pay for their safety with their lives, and for their freedom with their lives. The cost of peace and tranquility comes at a higher cost for people of color. Due to the color of their skin, and these white colonialists have no problem cashing in on the lives of people of color. Freedom from oppression has always been at a cost for people of color, but it takes us rallying in the streets and pounding on the doors of legislative officials to at least hear our plea. Racism is clearly not just an issue in the U.S. It is a global disgust that undermines the value of people of color. Why are we hated so much? Why are we subjected to such criticism and unfair treatments globally? The only explanation is the advancement of our people dating back to BC and the power we procured over our vast, rich history that our people have had. We didn't live in caves. We weren't mongers. We weren't bottom feeders. We were people of civilizations and upstanding, people that knew how to clothe themselves and cook our food properly. But yet, that's enough of a reason for people to just have an overall innate hate for us. Black and brown people have found ourselves in a continuous pattern of being reduced to the bottom of the social hierarchy, regardless of the social standing or individuality. Filippo states that unfair treatment may not be the result of state policies, but yet here we are, people of color being subjected to the racist ideals that are being enforced through the very officials that safeguard these policies. Even though both European and non-European citizens are attempting to flee from the risk in Ukraine, it seems as though the agenda is to only protect those that are of European descent, and all others are left to fend for themselves, while being forced to stay in a war-trodden country. Somto Tora didn't fail as though he was being subjected to unfair treatment due to the policies that are being enforced by officials who have only one people in mind to get to safety. Furthermore, he voiced the discrimination that it was occurring in front of his eyes and without a beat, was still being racially mistreated. Before him, he had to watch as white people were being chosen time and time again to board these trains to Poland, and all non-whites were being cast down and not allowed to board. Eventually making it aboard after the satisfactory amount of white citizens were boarded, he and a group of other Africans made it on the train. The feeling of finally being able to be free of the torment where he was at was short-lived as the train was stopped and they were kicked off with the message of Ukrainians only. Safety was in his grasp and then stripped away with two words, Ukrainians only. Sound familiar, America? Yeah, you did this and do this too. I have no sympathy for those officials that fear being overturned by Russia. When your racial ideology outweighs the safety of all who reside in your country and condemn those who do not share your lineage to death. This is AC signing off saying, free all brothers and sisters from across the way. Voice and speak up against the racist fascists of Ukraine that sentence our people to possible death. Thank you.